Hello to all you beautiful people of the internet. Welcome to another Kapoor file, and this time we're going to be looking at three characters this time, because if I just did one of them at a time, it'll probably turn into another short, and I'm sick of the shorts. So we're going to be looking at Kapoor first. He is male, his hair is black, he is late 30s to early 40s. We don't know what his job was before the apocalypse, but after it, he was the sheriff of the Commonwealth. So in the volume Rest in Peace, Sheriff Kapoor arrives at Carl's house and informs him that they will be hearing tomorrow because Carl killed one of Herschel Green's walkers, and this is considered private property. Flabbergasted, Carl points out the walker could have killed somebody, but Kapoor tells him the law is only concerned with things that happened, not things that could have happened. Kapoor apologizes and tells Carl he will do everything in his power to help him and get the punishment reduced down to a fine. Carl and Sophia arrive at the hearing to find a long line of people in front of the building. Kapoor apologizes and uses that word and supposes that word must have gotten about Carl coming into town. Carl's punishment is to replace the walker he killed by a new one. The next day, a little boy rushes past Herschel and tells him to come quick. The boy tells him his walker cart, but takes him to his walker cart, where Herschel is shocked to find all of his walkers dead. Carl returns home after a few days of scouting. Sophia demands to know why Carl did what he did, but Gull remorsefully tells her that he just wanted to keep Andrea safe. Lydia tells him that Andrea was safe, but wouldn't be without her father. Their argument is interrupted by Kapoor and his posse. When it was coming close to the comic series being finished, there were false covers coming out after 193, and Kapoor was on the false issue 194, and people thought it was Rick, and they were trying to change his ethnicity, but it turned out to be a totally different character. So let's move on to Andrea Grimes, the child, not the adult. So here we are with Andrea Grimes, the child. She is female, her hair is blonde, she is aged 6, and she was a school student during the apocalypse. She was born after the apocalypse. Because we don't see a child Andrea Grimes afterwards. But given her age, she was born somewhere in 2027, which is not too far coming. In the volume Rest in Peace, when Kapoor comes to visit the Grimes farm, Andrea engages in a conversation with him about her day at school. Her mother Sophia interrupts to tell her to get ready for dinner at the Sutton farm. Later that night, Andrea can be seen playing with Earl Sutton's dogs while her parents and Earl talk by the fire. Later, Carl carries Andrea out of Earl's house and thanks Earl for having them over. They take Andrea home and tuck her into bed. A few days later, Andrea waves goodbye to Carl as he leaves to deliver messages through the Commonwealth. When he returns home from his trip, she runs out to hug him. She tells him a story of how Sophia killed a giant snake while he was gone. At night, Carl reads a story to Andrea in bed about the apocalypse and Rick Grimes. Carl tells Andrea that Rick Grimes was her grandfather and that he was the one who did all those great things. She says that he tells her that every time, but demands her father to read it again. It is so sweet. And she is the final named character to be introduced, so hey. But she's never seen a walker before, so he's very protective of her. And lastly, we're going to be looking at the despicable Lance Hornsby. He is male, his hair is dark brown, and he is in his mid-30s. Before the apocalypse, we don't know what he would have been, but after the apocalypse, he was the Deputy Governor of the Commonwealth and a bookkeeper and administrator for the Commonwealth. Nothing is known about this before, but it's possible he lived in or near Ohio. and probably had an upper class job. After the apocalypse, Lance, along with a group of soldiers, headed out to meet Eugene. In the volume New World Order, when Lance encounters Eugene and his group, he questions them. To his annoyance, Eugene wasn't going to answer any questions and demanded to see Stephanie. Lance gives in to Eugene and deigns to take him and his group to the Commonwealth. He later offers Michonne a job in the Commonwealth as a lawyer. In the volume The Rotten Core, Lance tells Michonne Hawthorne what happened as to why some of the soldiers beat Anthony Keith and informs her that she will be assigned as the defense lawyer for them. Later that night, he lets Michonne know that Anthony died. After the riots ended, he is later seen being reprimanded by Pamela for letting things fall apart while he was in charge and is about to be demoted. Lance accompanies Pamela on one of her hunts, in quotes. And in the volume Rest in Peace, when Mercer tries to rally the Commonwealth military to overthrow the governor, Lance enters the room with armed guards and tells Mercer that Pamela will be very disappointed in him. Lance is later seized by Mercer's men after the later escapes from jail. Mercer questions him about Pamela's whereabouts, but Lance tells him that he doesn't know the governor's location. Later on, after Rick prevents a war between the militia and the Commonwealth and a subsequent murder at the hands of Sebastian, Lance is shown be walking free again, and he even comes to pay his respects to Rick. After the 23-year time skip, we don't know what happened to him, but we can assume he's alive and hiding behind places as a coward. So in this one, he's not very much of a bad guy, but he does respect Rick in some way. I prefer his character in the TV series. That was the best version of him, because in this one we don't see him much. So that was the 3 Walking Dead characters from the Commonwealth I wanted to cover. Thank you all very much for listening. If you have any characters you want me to cover, let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe, please leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.